Hi there, Trenton. How you doing? All right. I'm sorry that I didn't get this back to you sooner. Um, but let's go ahead and take a look. I've got your JPEG up here. I'm seeing some really interesting ideas here, but I do have some comments I want to share with you. So it's how to make guacamole. So you've got the tree, the avocado tree, and I think that's a really interesting approach. Really think about how this is going to work in conjunction with the tree. I'm not sure if the tree should take up this much of the composition. Maybe we could just have the side of the tree with some branches and avocados, and maybe our little main character sitting in a nook of the tree, just to kind of create this connection between the main character and his little connection with the narrative. I think it's really interesting using this. I don't know if this is a little chipmunk or a little tree squirrel, but I think it's interesting. I really do. I think it's super interesting and really clever, very creative. But there are some inherent problems that are going to happen, and I want you to really think about this moving forward. So I think the narrative itself. It reads pretty well, but the only thing is you want to watch the order in which you present your frames in the narrative. And let me just bring something up here. Vector illustration. I just want to bring this up because I want to take a look at this, and I want you to really take a look at this while we're going through. So the first thing we really have in any narrative is to introduce the setting and introduce the characters. But here we haven't done that. I mean, you've kind of introduced the setting with the tree, but the first frame is just a bowl with two avocados in it. So you haven't really introduced the setting or the character. I would start the first frame. You know what a great thing to do here to introduce the setting and the character is to take the little squirrel guy and place him behind with his arms out like he's taking a look at this. So there's a connection between the bowl of avocados and the main character. Okay, so at that point you will have introduced this character, introduced the setting. Then you have to introduce a conflict. Okay, so placing the squirrel here, and then don't forget, now this is going to be tough. This is going to be really tough, but it says guacamole mix on the package, and this assignment requires, it doesn't permit any text at all. So there's no writing, there's no text allowed in this assignment at all. So we can't put guacamole mix on the bag. That said, introduced a problem or conflict. So you have this little guy here with his things, and he's got the guacamole mix. So you can have him use the guacamole mix. I don't know where the little squirrel got the guacamole mix, but that's one of the cute things about this. It's cute and clever, and I think that's something that will just be left to the viewer's imagination. Okay, so we have the setting, the character, and we have to introduce the problem. And the problem in this case is that the little guy, the main character, doesn't have anything to mash up the avocados. So we need to introduce that, and that is called introduction of the problem. That's the conflict stage of a narrative. Every narrative has a conflict. All stories have a conflict, and we need to present that conflict. So in this case, again, in summary, the conflict here is the fact that he doesn't have a utensil to break apart the avocado. So a suggestion there would be to have him maybe thinking about a potato masher. So he maybe a thought bubble, he's got a potato masher and then a series of question marks around his head like, okay, I don't have, and then he could be going like this. Okay, so here, like this with a thought bubble, potato masher, and a bunch of question marks, indicating that he doesn't have a potato masher. So at that point, we need to start introducing the resolution, or potential solutions at least. And in that case, I would say, once he figures out he doesn't have a potato masher, maybe we could show him running over to his toolbox and grabbing the hammer, all right? Then the narrative can go ahead and continue on where he's using the hammer to break apart the avocados and mix it with the mix and create his avocado dip. Do you see what I'm saying? So So, and that, I think that's really interesting. The rest is really interesting. You've got the little narratives in the shape of avocados, and you've got them connected by the little leaves from the tree. So that's pretty clever. Now, one thing I want to make sure is that you include the leaves in the tree so that this makes sense. Okay, so if these are little leaves from the tree, and I think that's what they are, I'm not positive, but if they're leaves from the tree, be sure that you show some of those leaves here so that there's a connection. Okay. All right, great job. If my comments, if I need to clarify anything or anything I said doesn't make sense, let me know and I'll be glad to clarify. But if you have any questions at all, please get with me. All right, great start. Thank you so much.